Hello, welcome back everybody to Transformer TCG side of things. This is Grillenheimer. We're going to look at 3 more base cards. I was hoping to go over 6. I have 6 here, but I'm running out of time. So let's get right into this. I had to do a little bit of adjusting, and I don't think I've gone over the experimental research lab. And the experimental research lab is a green pip. It's a green pip only, and it does have the Decepticon trait on there, or faction. So only Decepticons can get this on the flip. And it is a Decepticon faction card as a result. It is a rare card. When a Decepticon is upgraded, for turn, I guess, each player does 1 damage to a character they control. So yeah, if you're playing Decepticons and this was in your deck and you have it in play and you upgrade one of your Decepticons, you have to do 1 damage to a character and your opponent has to do 1 damage to one of their characters. So maybe having, say, you're maybe breaking the 25-star rule, have 30 or 35 or something. You got some Battle Masters in there. This might be good for mixing in Battle Masters as an idea. So you can get some good to damaging one of your own characters as a result, while at the same time getting 1 damage to your opponent. Each specialist has Pierce 2 for battle. Blue action cards cannot be played by either player. So blue pip actions are a no-go while this is in play. So things to think about. Okay, things to think about. And it's not going to stop blue upgrades, which the blue upgrades, especially blue weapons, are kind of nice to have. They really help increase your attack for the most part. Blue pip plus 2 attack weapons, so those can still be played. So how you might want to, and that's the beauty of this base card, because I made it green only. It's not orange, it's not blue, it's not white nor black, even though it's giving Pierce 2 to who? The specialists, and only the specialists. So even if you are playing all Decepticons, or at least a Decepticon with this, to be able to put an upgrade on your Decepticon to get damage, at the same time the specialists are going to get Pierce 2. So something to think about. This might be good to have right at the start, especially if your opponent is Autobots only. If they are Decepticon, have our Decepticon team also, every time they put on an upgrade, both y'all are going to have to do damage to each other. So it's fair across the board when it comes to upgrading Decepticon. While this is in play, while the experimental research lab is on the table. So something to think about. So that's the research lab, and it is rare because of what all it's preventing from being played, giving your specialists Pierce, and just the damage in general. That's good damage, but you're gonna have damage one of your own characters if you upgrade a Decepticon. Finish Line is a white pip with the car trait, and a green pip with the melee trait. It's also a rare. When a car is untapped by a player's card, their player's battle card, draw a card. So, but Grillenheimer, does that happen for both sides of the table? Good question. I did not specify that. So if you have a car and you untap it with ready for action, if it's like 5, 6, 7 star character, you flip them to alt mode. They attacked before in bot mode. You play ready for action. You untap it. Now they're in card with finish line is in play. You get to draw a card. And yeah, I guess they get to draw a card too. So maybe I need to change this a little bit and say that, each player draws a card. Let's do that. So it's not going to be wonky to where it helps you, it helps only them. Both of y'all are going to get to draw a card just because you untapped a card, car traded character, or even if your opponent does the same thing. If your opponent is playing planes, Constructicons, something, aerial bots, whatever, they're not going to have a card trade. So if they untap one of their characters with a battle card, that isn't going to be triggered. That's not going to happen. Okay. When this is scrapped, do 1 damage to each ranged character on the battlefield. So if you are playing finish line, you might want to make sure you don't have ranged characters. Maybe melee and specialist characters. That's also kind of the clue there. Who can get this on the flip? Melee. Only melee characters can get this on the flip with the green. Something to think about, guys. It is rare because of all that's going on here. And I remember screenshotting this, which is from season 3 episode, the very first episode. The silly sport thing, and Jazz was in it, and everybody's like, "Yay, Jazz survived the movie," et cetera, et cetera. So things to think about, things to look at, and how you would want to try to incorporate this into your game, and what kind of cards you want to put into your game. I've made a lot of cards with hooks that can untap characters and tap characters. I can't remember what they're called right off, but I know I've made a few. When this is scrapped, we've got then 1 damage to each ranged character on the battlefield. So things to think about. Let's keep going. Let's look at one more here. Frozen Burial. Boy, I say that funny. It's a blue pip. And of course, every base card has a green pip to be able to get them on the flip. But who can get this? Only Autobots. So Autobots can get this on the flip. And it is an uncommon. Maybe this should not be an uncommon. Now, Frozen Burial, it does have 2 different faction cards here. So there's an Autobot version. There's a Decepticon version in the background. It does the exact same thing. The Autobots can get this on the flip, but it's going to help the Decepticons. Each Decepticon has Bold 1 and Pierce 1 for turn. Each Autobot has Oppress 1 Tough for battle. And again, the normal verbiage, reminder, characters can't have tough less than 0. So there's that. Now, Grillenheimer, why would you do this? Well, you're definite, especially if you're still keeping within the 25-star constraint, definitely utilizing this with a mixed, kind of a mixed character set, with Autobots and Decepticons to help your Decepticons out. But if you want to get this on the flip, you're going to want to have an Autobot on your team, at least, other than waiting to just draw it. So that's something else to also think about. But you're going to be able to Oppress 1 Tough for your opponent's Autobots if they are playing Autobots. So, but if this is in play and you have your Autobot is defending, and this has not been kicked off or scrapped by your opponent, then yeah, your Autobot is also going to have Oppress 1 Tough on defense. Things to think about. So really mixing things up and playing with everything we have going on here. Experimental Research Lab, green pip only. Only Decepticons can get it on the flip. It is a rare card. Getting damage when upgrading Decepticons, Specialists getting pierced, blue actions not being able to be played, finish line, white green. It's, you're going to be wanting some cars for sure in your card traded characters in your team, and some cards that can untap them to be able to get the draw power, but it's going to give draw power to your opponent also when you do that. When it's scrapped, your ranged characters are going to get damaged. So, I don't know how many characters that we have that are not ranged, or even in bot mode, not ranged characters. So this might hurt you also, but it definitely can hurt your opponent as well, especially if they're playing, I don't know, Decepticon planes. I have noticed a lot of Decepticons in general, I could be wrong about this, are a lot of ranged characters. And we have, the beauty of some characters where you flip them to alt mode, they are melee. You flip them to bot mode, they are ranged. So there's some of that going on in the game too. Frozen Burial, blue-green. And again, with going back to finish line, with the white pip, only the cars are going to be able to get that double white. Excuse me, the white double flip. So only those cars are only going to be able to get that on the defense or the attack. And that's normally not their stronger forms. I understand that. So there's that. And then Frozen Burial, really mixing things up between the Autobots and Decepticons. Who's getting it on the flip? The Autobots. Who's it really helping? Decepticons. And oppressing one tough for Autobots in general for battle. Wow, some really interesting stuff here. That's all I have time for. We'll see you next time. Up next, we're going to be going over Goo, Hidden Decepticon Ship, and Inside a Titan. I feel like we've looked at Inside a Titan before. Maybe not. I might add a star to that one, but let's see what happens. We'll see you then when we go over the next three. And as always, throw Scraplets at the like button. We'll see you next time. Don't have just a great day. Have a blessed day. And as always, Autobots, flip out and let's roll.